to oversee about 200 slaves being disembarked from the ships. He picked about a quarter to keep for himself, and the rest were sold into slavery.
So Henry the Navigator, basically, he started the slave trade in, you say,
1444 was when the first auction, or recorded auction, of the Atlantic slave trade took place in Lagos in southern Portugal.
Okay, and he went to, you said he went to...
His explorers, because he never really was on the ships, okay? But he was basically in southern Portugal, in Lagos, with a group of advisors, deciding where they would go, planning the trips.
So he would send the navigators out.
Exactly.
And then tell them to catch or whatever, and then come back.
Bring whatever, exactly. They were focused on bringing whatever they could find to make money and to make the voyage, the investment, profitable. So if it was gold, if it was ivory, if it was slaves, whatever could make the voyage profitable. And the first slaves were captured directly from Portuguese sailors, and taken to Portugal. But later on, Prince Henry gave the orders to avoid the raids in favor of building more permanent fortifications along the West African coast. So they built what is known as the slave castles of West Africa.
So the Portuguese built them.
Yeah, and if you, for example, know about Elmina in Ghana, it was a Portuguese factory or slave castle. They called them factories, or feitorias. But it was essentially a fortified position where the ships could sail, restock with water, with food, offload their goods, and pick up slaves or other commodities.
So it's like a station.
Exactly.
So they would just bring whatever they're bringing there and then move on somewhere else. And they would get whatever they need, if they need water or whatever they need along their voyages.
And here in these castles, they would segregate the men from the women and the children, keep them in cells for weeks or months. Some people would die on the cells. They would only bathe the women if one of the men wanted to sleep with them.
So they would still let the slaves have sex?
No, they would force the slaves to have sex with them. The people in these forts would force the slaves to have sex with them. That's the only time when they would actually bathe them and give them a bit more food, because they didn't want slaves to be well fed.
So they uprise.
Exactly. They wanted to keep them in very depressed conditions, so that they couldn't lash out and could be safely transported. And many people died in those cells, just waiting until the ships came to pick them up. And I have here another interesting illustration, which is the coat of arms of Fernão Gomes da Mina, one of the commanders, the Portuguese commanders active in this area in the 15th century. And his coat of arms showcases about 4 black busts with golden necklaces, nose rings and earrings.
What's a black buff? You said
or a bust. So a bust is this part of your head, like or your body. So like your shoulders, your head. It's a bust. So basically, it's an African bust. This was meant to showcase the wealth of that region. The Portuguese called that part of West Africa Costa de Mina, which means the coasts of the mines, and the British later called it the Gold Coast.
So that's where they got that from. Correct. What's these little bolts where I see everywhere on the wall?
These are basically little marks and decorations that were built into the walls around the 15th and 16th century. Some of them are purely decorative. Some of them actually evoke saints.
Okay.
So some of them were placed in people's households.
Oh, interesting.
And then you'll notice that there's an arch
Yeah.
over here.
So that's the original. The arch is where it originally was.
Well, the arch was part of the wall. This was one of the small little gates in and out of Lisbon.
What's these things stand for here?
CML means Lisbon Municipal Hall.
Okay.
Okay, there will be some kind of pipes or something over there.
Okay.